Alright, so what's going on YouTube? People around the world coming to you live from the United States of America, Chicago, Illinois. And the for the next few minutes, and I'll try to keep this video short, I'm going to be delving into the state of affairs where national security, local security, and international security are concerned. I will be providing an excerpt from ex-CIA military official, or just ex-CIA contractor Robert Steele, in which he delves into the whole political sphere as well as the financial aspect of what it is to quote unquote acquire intelligence, and how largely you all, the taxpayers, are really contributing toward nothing. And without further ado, here he is in his own words, no censorship. Alright, hear this.
Or does not do. I've done counterintelligence. I'm basically intimately familiar with the way in which the U.S. government does or does not do the craft of intelligence. And I will tell you, secret intelligence is costing the U.S. taxpayer $60 million a year. And for that, we're getting very bad intelligence. We're getting less than 10% of what we need to know.
That's the whole video. That's it. Alright, have a good day. Psych. This man just stated, and this interview is a few years old, however, the budget has increased from confirmed sources, and you can find this on the internet, open source, to around $100 billion a year to gather intelligence that is not helping our country, our economy, our nation, and we're largely failing to build these connections with the outside international community, which largely contributes toward conflict, destabilization, and decentralized values without oversight. Why does this matter? So during COVID, we have seen unprecedented challenges, mostly in the economic sector within the United States of America, arguably throughout the whole world as well. There's really no quick fix to these problems that we face as a nation. However, the manner in which Robert Steele presented it was very much the same way that any other bureaucrat, politician, average Joe would present it to you as well. He basically told you, and I'm going to paraphrase, all that money that you people as taxpayers, myself included, although I'm out of a job, have been dealing with litigations, all that money you're contributing does not help at all toward our collective effort to know more on XYZ or this business subsidiary, etc. at all. So all that taxpayer money you guys are paying, down the drain. And right now, we're seeing an unprecedented unemployment gap after our president and the administration had established more jobs during the time span of him being president. Yet look at how quickly our economy was disrupted, almost by magic, right? And why does this matter? Well, if you're a disabled veteran, if you're just disabled, if you're a minority, if you're a business entrepreneur, if you're a CEO, if you're a government official, if you're a politician, then, and more specifically, if you live in the United States, this matters to anyone and everyone, because when you have the unemployment gap getting bigger, it just foretells us that the economic sector of the United States and the economy that we have grown could very well be cratered, fragmented, and irreversibly damaged due to the never before seen, catastrophic, and very real effects of the pandemic we are facing currently. Understanding that train of thought, this is largely why I believe, among others, that the USA has actively engaged in the act of seditious espionage against not only the business sector, not only the consumer, not only the politician, sure as hell not only against its own country, only because we have proven that all that money that we're, for these sponsored programs It's not a question of where is the money going. It's a question of where is the intel coming from? Who's supplying it? And how are they doing that bad of a job? And so, without getting too much into political spheres or divisive tactics, because then this would in essence become a psyop without it being a psyop. Um, yeah, we're paying for nothing. This video was a bit dated, yet the budget has increased to, like, as I stated, 100 billion. I'll find the source somewhere, and we apparently can't get enough of the right information in order to make a good decision. And that translates basically into our failures to collectively come together with other nations and stabilize regions and in some way better enhance the business aspect of the world collectively. Um, Robert Steele was a man who advocated for the open source intelligence model, though I'm pretty sure he was far from the first. But he brought up an interesting point. When we're spending this much money on these projects and they're not helping our country, and who knows how the future will be, we need to find a different way to get what we need and not exactly waste all this money that is going to nothing. In essence, we could have all this money diverted to, fixing our schooling, our educational sector, our streets, as in like there's so many potholes and there's so much like broken shit everywhere. Installing solar panels, like if we push so hard to get smart meters, I'm pretty sure we could introduce legislation to get every single fucking house a solar panel that they would pay some type of part for. Um, these are very abstract things I'm talking about, but just to bring it all into perspective, if we could find a better use for all this fucking money that is coming from you, the taxpayer, you, paying for it, why not? I mean, you're already fine with paying for this shit, and you have actual people that have credentials telling you in your face it's not helping your country. So you all collectively need to reevaluate where you stand in terms of your budgeting and your taxpayer and taxpayee ideology. Um, Branching out into another subject matter that concerns privacy clauses, as well as espionage openly being done by the local and national sectors of government, as I stated, maybe that's why. Because we're paying for something that doesn't work. So the only way to get this shit to work is to do it in a covert fashion, and then that's where it crosses into like a type of operation being done. What the people don't know is that while we wasted so much time blaming foreign subsidiaries for these breaches and hacks and whatnot, we missed out, and when I say we, I mean the country, we missed out on billions of dollars worth of connections, worth of integration, and worth of a better systematic overview and auditing process. And that's reflective of this country now. So when you have and I'm always going to keep saying this, the national and local sectors do not and have not ever coordinated effectively with the international auditing community. I don't know why, you'd have to ask them. And as long as that keeps up, this country's heading nowhere fast. And we're seeing it. We have seen it within the past 20 years. Arguably, we've seen it within the past 30 years. Even more. Why does this matter now? The level of espionage is unprecedented and unwarranted. You have people like Rand Paul actively taking a stance. You have people like Ted Cruz. You have people like John Bolton, etc., all saying the same thing I'm saying, except they have meritocracy, right? So, in essence, the more people that actually see the benefits to this type of different way of thinking, the more sustainable our economy and country can be. However, I see that as an unrealistic effort now, given the fact that we rely extensively on imports and we have already that ship has sailed. This country, among others, has blamed the entirety of the Chinese for this COVID epidemic. So don't hold your breath and don't be like, oh, well, maybe they'll see it our way now. We already chose our path collectively. And that's never a good way to do business with another country, especially one that's very powerful and technologically advanced. My God, have you seen their cities? You, where do we stand in the world rankings? We have China, we have Russia, we have the United Kingdom, the Middle East, we have France, we have Germany, we have the USA, and we have, I'm going to say, parts of Latin America mixed with Africa. That's really where it is. That's really where we are right now. For anyone that follows politics, the G7 summit that happened not too long ago, they basically talked about all this shit and their implementations, understanding the UN agenda for Agenda 2030 and other manners of progress toward a collective unison, then you understand why these programs matter very much. You want me to pause it?